And welcome back. It's time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, we both attended the Freedom of Information Oklahoma event this past weekend in the Plaza District. As usual, the BlackHole Award got a lot of attention, but there were also awards honoring those who have stood up for government transparency. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the positive award. Ziva Branstetter, our friend in Tulsa, won recognition for her work pressing the government for openness about what's transpired in the death penalty process in recent years. Now runs an organization called The Frontier, I believe, and used to be with the Tulsa World. It was good to gather with friends and applaud those who are helping to sustain at least mostly openness in government and pressure to make it more open. Karen Holp of KGOU Radio won the Marion P. Apollo Award. When I was a boy, Marion Apollo was my dad's favorite law professor, and I knew Apollo his whole last 50 years of his life and most of my life, a man I respect. And she won for educational work and her practical efforts to promote openness in government. And State Auditor and Inspector Gary Jones, they give an award every year at FOI Oklahoma for a public official who promotes sunshine. And it was appropriate that all this happened during Sunshine Week, recognizing Auditor Jones for his commitment and passion on the issue. In fact, he's even a member of FOI Oklahoma, and I remember that my friend Brenda Renault was actually a dues-paying member of FOI Oklahoma back in the day. So there's not necessarily a conflict between being a public official and being for openness and transparency in government.
No, we like to see that.
Yeah, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. That's what Jefferson said, yes, and I try to live by that.
Wisconsin primaries, the results are in. These results sustained the incredible drama and turmoil surrounding the 2016 primary presidential campaign. So what do you look for now?
You know, in a way, Wisconsin still remains a state that reflects two long-standing traditions in the Republican Party. The progressive and populist tradition that Robert La Follette championed in the early 20th century, and that sustained itself in the victory for Bernie Sanders on the Democratic side of this primary campaign. I think that Sanders is going to have a little more trouble going forward because he's starting to have trouble handling substantive questions from the press about how he would implement some of the things he's calling for. Hillary Clinton finished a respectable second, but second nonetheless, but of course now it's headed to New York. Now on the Republican side, I was thrilled, candidly. Although Ted Cruz is not my first choice for president, I was thrilled by his victory, denying Donald Trump another victory in a major state, and hopefully building momentum for the future. They're even starting to talk about, well, who would a Ted Cruz possibly pick as a running mate? We'll see. There's a lot of time still to come. I loved a line George Will had the other night, which was, let me get this right, the typical Republican convention delegate rather likes the Republican Party and is inclined to support someone who's been a Republican longer than since last Tuesday. Thus endeth this week's oration. One quick thing, did you get to see the boss?
I did.
Bruce Springsteen.
And as his fellow New Jerseyan Jon Stewart said at the Kennedy Center Awards a few years ago, this is a guy who empties the tank every time for his fans, for his family, and he did it for Oklahoma City.
Right here in Oklahoma City, awesome. 3 hours.
You bet. 3 hours and 20 minutes straight. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.